post on Facebook came amid heavy flooding in and around Bangkok Industrial Estate in neighboring Samut, Prakan. The flood, which exceeded 1 meter in some spots, was triggered by heavy rain overnight and paralyzed the entire area around the estate. Paul Jen Aswin said Bangkok was also bracing for possible widespread floods as heavy rain is forecast over the next 4 days. The Thai Meteorological Department has warned of downpours covering 80% of Bangkok until Friday. Traffic ground to a halt in some flooded streets where water levels were said to have risen about 50 centimeters.
ที่กรมศุลนะครับมีรถพนักงานเดลต้าอยู่7 คันนะครับ
Most parts of Luzon will experience rains caused by the Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ, the Weather Bureau said Monday. Pag-asa said there is a high chance of rains over the Cagayan Valley. The ITCZ is expected to be the prevailing weather system in the next 2 to 3 days. Residents of Metro Manila, Central Luzon, Region 4A Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol Region, and Pangasinan should also bring an umbrella to protect themselves from rains, De La Cruz added. The rest of Luzon will have partly cloudy skies and thunderstorms are likely in the afternoon or evening. Improved weather will be experienced over the Visayas and Mindanao. However, thunderstorms are still possible. Meanwhile, light to moderate winds and slight to moderate seas will prevail over the entire archipelago. No weather disturbance is expected in the country in the next 24 to 36 hours.
In other news, National Security Advisor Secretary Hermogenes Esperon Jr. said all foreign research vessels that enter the country's maritime domain without the authorization or permit of the Philippine government are always protested. Esperon, who is also chair of the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea, added that they immediately act diplomatically if they see that the country's sovereignty and sovereign rights are being violated. Take a look.
I recall of an incident last June, this June 2021, when flares, not gunshots or any other caliber, that was fired at an armed forces aircraft which was patrolling the Union Banks. That's where Whitson Reef is. China has 2 detachments and Vietnam has 3 detachments there in that Union Bank. And so, true to what we have agreed upon, this was immediately put into a political, there was a diplomatic protests. By the way, we continuously protest against what we find there to be in violation of our sovereignty and our sovereign rights, whether you are Chinese or any other nationality. We continue to monitor marine scientific research vessels that go into our maritime domain without the permit of the Philippines. They're immediately protested by the Department of Foreign Affairs. Any unnecessary swarming of vessels around our stations, especially Pag-asa, are protested. The turning off of the automatic identity system, AIS, is for vessels is also protested. We see to it that as long as we can and within the international rules dictated or given to us or brought by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, or the arbitral award, or our claim in the KIG by presidential decree, and our EEZ rules, then if we see that our sovereignty and sovereign rights are violated, then we indeed launch diplomatic protest or some other forms of actions, or some actions are taken, of course, to protect our national interest.
The Kalayaan Island Group automatically became part of the Philippine territory by virtue of Presidential Proclamation 1596. This was issued back in 1976 by then President Ferdinand Marcos, which as a result gave way to the creation of the municipality of Kalayaan, part of the province of Palawan. Kalayaan's seat of power is located in the island of Pag-asa, and China insists it has sovereign rights to nearly all of the sea, even waters close to the shores of its neighbors. Aside from the Philippines, other claimants are Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan.
After waiting for over a year, the Filipino Nurses United, or FNU, heaved a sigh of relief after the Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, issued Budget Circular 2021-2, prescribing the rules and regulations on the upgrading the salary of the Nurse 2 position from salary grade 15, SG15, to salary grade 16, or SG16, as well as the retention of the position titles of Nurse 3 to Nurse 7 with the corresponding salary grade prior to demotion. The Business Mirror reports that the FNU felt that the issuance of the DBM circular on August 25, 2021 issuance is a testament of the power of nurses' sustained vigilance in fighting for what is right and just. The group noted they were the first ones to expose and oppose the unjust provision of position modification that effectively demoted nurses 2 to nurse 7 positions to one rank lower. FNU immediately registered its rejection of Budget Circular 2020-4 issued on July 17, 2020 by submitting a formal query to DBM on July 20. They also lamented that they are witness to the dismal bureaucratic mayhem of both DBM and DOH, who they claimed failed miserably in its principal task. They said both DOH and DBM were not able to ensure the timely release of benefits and allowances due for nurses and health workers who serve as backbone in the fight against the terror of this pandemic.
Meanwhile, a member of the House Committee on Appropriations on Sunday asked the national government to make a full accounting of $4 billion worth of foreign loans for the COVID-19 pandemic response. Citing the National Expenditure Program, or NEP, annexes of the proposed 5.024 trillion peso 2022 budget, BHW Representative Angelica Natasha Co said the national government secured foreign loans from 6 international aid bodies covering 8 different loan programs for 2020 to 2022. According to her, $4 billion is roughly $200 billion. Now, in a report in the Business Mirror as well, the lawmaker noted that 1.9 billion pesos or dollars is from the Asian Development Bank, $500 million from the World Bank, $750 million from the AIIB, about $756 million from JICA, $100 million from the Export-Import Bank of Korea, and $50 million from Spain's AIIDC. Now, likewise, Co asked the national government to submit to Congress its reports containing these foreign loans. Co said that as a member of the lower chamber, she also wants a detailed inventory report on all the donated COVID vaccines from all foreign sources.
During the second quarter of the year.
The Philippines on Saturday received 100 oxygen concentrators from the Australian government as part of the latter's COVID-19 pandemic support. Australian Ambassador Stephen Robinson said the aid was upon the request of Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. during his meeting with Australian Foreign Minister Marise Payne on August 23. Robinson said Australia is committed to donating more of the equipment that filters oxygen molecules from the ambient air to provide patients with 90 to 95% pure oxygen. The Department of Health said the concentrators will be dispatched soon to government hospitals in Central Luzon, Calabarzon, and Western and Central Visayas. Robinson was joined by Locsin Health Undersecretary Leopoldo Vega and World Health Organization Representative Dr. Rabindra Abiyasinghe in witnessing the concentrators' arrival.
More than 14.6 million, or 62.6% of the adult population in Malaysia, have been inoculated with a COVID-19 vaccine after 302,804 shots were dispensed yesterday. The Special Committee for COVID-19 Vaccine Access said 142,186 people received their first dose yesterday, while 160,618 others received the second dose to complete their vaccination course. Malaysia, which largely avoided the pandemic's initial wave last year, has now reported over 1.7 million virus cases and 16,087 deaths. But the country's vaccination rollout has picked up speed.
The country's defense chief called on Filipinos to become heroes in their own right by adhering to the health protocols and supporting the government's vaccination campaign in battling the pandemic. By doing so, Filipinos protect themselves and the community against the virus. And winning the fight can be won only with cooperation, Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana said in a statement. I quote, amid the suffering due to the pandemic, may the heroism of past and present-day heroes be an inspiration for every Filipino to do their duty and cooperation for the benefit of the country. Today, we take inspiration from their legacy and heroism as we battle a new and dangerous invader, the COVID-19 virus. The challenges we currently face call upon all of us to become heroes ourselves, according to Delphine Lorenzana, the Department of National Defense. In a statement, he said, amid the suffering due to the pandemic, may the heroism of past and present day heroes be an inspiration for every Filipino to do their duty and cooperate for the benefit of the country. I quote, as the nation commemorates this year's National Heroes Day, the DND pays tribute to the heroes of our history who offered their lives and sacrificed for our country. Despite the odds, our forebears fought side by side against the Spaniards, the Americans, and the Spanish to defend our nation. Today, we take inspiration from their legacy and heroism as we battle a new and dangerous invader, the COVID-19 virus. The challenges we currently face call upon all of us to become heroes ourselves. He urged the people to take inspiration from the bravery and heroism of Filipino heroes as the country commemorates on Monday National Heroes Day. I quote, today we take inspiration from their legacy and heroism as we battle a new and dangerous invader, the COVID-19 virus. The challenges we currently face call upon all of us to become heroes ourselves. He urged the people to take inspiration from the bravery and heroism of Filipino heroes as the country commemorates on Monday, the National Heroes Day. Citing present-day heroism, Lorenzana said the willingness to sacrifice for freedom was shown in defense of Zamboanga City in 2013 and Marawi City in 2017 against terrorist groups.
Gila and I will be back right after this break. Stay tuned.
Ang trabaho naman talaga ng maritime group ng PNP is to enforce the maritime laws.
Tayo lang yung stricto, pero in other parts of the country, pwede na naman ang tourism.
Definitely, we are ready to respond to to a possible spike.
Sapagkat ang aming intensyon ay makatulong lang sa mga tao na wala talagang magamit na gamot.
92 voted for this resolution, which will make it stronger, calling on the Justice Department to come up with more stringent ways to be able to avert these hate crimes against Asian Americans.
Mas marami po tayong magagamit ngayon na mga tools or mga equipment.
Maraming salamat, Weng, at sa buong puwersa ng Balitalakayan sa pagkakataong ito.
Tatalakayin ang mga pangunahing balita live sa teleradyo ng Net25 at Radyo Aguila DCEC 1062. Kasama si Weng de la Fuente sa...
At itong Balitalakayan, we live in interesting times.
Iba't ibang sakuna at kalamidad ang nararanasan ng bansa. Kapag may banta ng panganib, kailangang maging alerto at kung kailangang lumikas ay magtungo sa ligtas na lugar. Bilang paghahanda sa mga ganitong pagkakataon, mahalaga na may gobag na dadalhin ang pamilya. Narito ang dapat na nilalaman ng gobag ng isang pamilyang handa. Mahalagang dokumento sa selyadong lalagyan, flashlight, kandila, posporo at silbato, radyo na may bago at ekstrang baterya, first aid kit kasama ang panlunas sa lagnat, LBM, sugat at iba pa. Ang mga gamot na regular na iniinom ng pamilya. Magagamit para sa mga sanggol, bata, matatanda at may kapansanan, pera at mga barya. Pagkain na madaling ihanda, di na kailangang lutuin at sapat para sa 3 araw. Inuming tubig sa saradong lalagyan at sapat para sa 3 araw. Telepono, power bank at charger. Lubid, lumang dyaryo, matitibay na lalagyan, damit, kapote, bota at mga sanitary supplies, sleeping bag o banig at mga kumot. Suriin ang mga laman ng gobag kada 3 buwan at palitan ang mga laman nito na malapit nang masira. Ilagay ang gobag sa lugar na madali itong makita at makuha sa oras ng sakuna.
Welcome back to the program. Organizers of protest in Thailand said car mob rallies to oust Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha will come to a halt after the final outing on Sunday as organizers pivot towards daily demonstrations across the country. Here's Veronica Carino, our ABC Thailand correspondent. Veronica.
Hello, Gina. Good afternoon. Yes, the final car mob rally to unseat Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha will take place on Sunday, with organizers shifting their focus to daily demonstrations across the country. Sombat Bongam Anong, speaking before the start of the rally, said it would be the last since he and the red shirt leader, Natawut Saikua, had agreed to take the campaign to a new level. Mr. Sombat stated that the locations of the new rally sites, as well as the other details, would be released after the convoy arrived at its destination on Sunday. It's about time to enhance the protests after 5 vehicle mob rallies, he told UDD News. The vehicle mob protesters have reached a tipping point, he remarked, as more cars joins the convoy. Mr. Sombat stated that the nighttime rallies would be organized at the same location in each provinces for people to gather after work to express their opposition to General Prayut, and that they would continue indefinitely until the Prime Minister resigned. We will engage in a protected, non-violent struggle that will not add to participants' burden, he added, adding that the protest will not run late into the night. Mr. Sombat first kept the rally sites a secret. They would be in provincial downtowns across the country, according to a Facebook posting issued on Sunday. On Sunday, the final vehicle mob march began near Kasatsat University in Bangkok neighborhood. It would go 50 kilometers through Nonthaburi before arriving in Patumtani. Hundreds more cars were observed along the route, waiting to join the convoy. Thousands of cars attended Mr. Sombat and Mr. Nathawood's car mob rally on August 15 in Bangkok and neighboring regions. Meanwhile, at 2 p.m. on Sunday, the Talugas, a group of largely young motorbike demonstrators, gathered at Democracy Monument. They did not join Mr. Nathawood's main march, instead regrouping at Ding Dang intersection, the site of earlier clashes with the police. Objects, large firecrackers, and ping pong bombs were reportedly hurled into containers set up to boost the police defenses on Bibhavadi Rangsit Road at 4:45 p.m. The police flared or fired tear gas and deployed water cannon at protesters. A policeman was said to be injured by debris from a flare. The Metropolitan Police Bureau dispatched crowd control personnel to keep the peace and divert traffic away from the demonstration. 345 people have been arrested as a result of the protests so far. According to the police, another 615 people have been charged around the country for their roles in protest since July 1st. Police in Bangkok have charged 406 protesters, with 200 of them being questioned further. This update is from Bangkok Post. Back to you, Gila.
Thank you, Veronica, for that update. Stay safe.
Yes, thank you. And likewise, reporting live from Thailand, I am Veronica Carino, and we live in interesting times.
Staying in Thailand, the last train will soon depart from Bangkok Central Station, leaving behind an uncertain fate for the hawkers, drivers, and rough sleepers who have made a second home under the century-old terminal's ornate arched ceiling. Let's watch this.
This station still be in mind of the Thai people. People always remember the train by recognize the Bangkok station. So when they open Bang Sue Grand Station, is the big station. It's the biggest station in Southeast Asia now. So many activity gonna start move to Bang Sue Grand Station, but Bangkok station still keep as a museum by the purpose of the government. Government try to develop in that area. As I mentioned to you, they talk about connectivity with the bus, with other system. So it will be easy and convenient for passenger in the future. But people have to get used to that. Okay, main activity gonna move to Bang Sue Grand Station. It's a classic station. So I think people still remember of Bangkok station. Although the Bang Sue Grand Station is bigger, newer, more convenient, more comfortable. But this one also, the location and the architecture and the style, still people still remember that in their mind and in their heart also.
สะดวกมากกว่าเยอะมันเป็นศูนย์กลางแล้วแหละค่ะถึงอยู่ใกล้ๆกันแต่ว่าเหมือนประหยัดค่ารถโดยสารนี้อะค่ะเช่นแท็กซี่ก็อาจจะประหยัดกว่าถ้าที่นี่นะคะ
The ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, or AICHR, organized the ARCHR Capacity Building on Trafficking in Persons and Human Rights, Community Policing Approach to Victim Identification and Prevention of Trafficking in Persons from August 23rd to the 25th via video conferencing. Over 150 participants from relevant ministries, national agencies, and task forces focused on combating trafficking in persons attended the workshop. Participants included national agencies of witness and victims protection, national human rights institutions, ASEAN sectoral bodies, and civil organization or civil society organizations from all ASEAN member states and Timor-Leste. At the three-day workshop, participants exchanged views, experiences, and good practices on victim identification, trafficking in persons case handling, and community policing approaches and their challenges due to COVID-19. In her opening remarks, Indonesian representative to AICHR, Wayung Ningrum, underscored the importance of integrating human rights and gender perspectives in combating trafficking in persons. She also noted that the measures to address the issue should involve a victim-centered approach and civil society participation. Participants also shared some reflections and recommendations on the need to, number one, build and maintain public trust, to institutionalize a community policing approach in addressing trafficking in persons. Hence, it's important for police institutions to show compliance with public services ethics, transparent, accountable, and the respect to human rights. Two, strengthen cooperation and coordination among all relevant sectors, including civil society organizations, in addressing trafficking in persons, particularly to effectively operationalize referral system to help trafficked persons. 3, establish an ASEAN directory on services providers for victims of trafficking in persons. 4, develop a clear guideline and procedures for community policing based on human rights principles and standards in ASEAN. And 5, a regional initiative that will allow all ASEAN member states to share good practices on community policing approach in handling trafficking in persons cases. The workshop is part of the implementation of the Bohol Work Plan on Trafficking in Person 2017 to 2020 and the AICHR 5-year Work Plan 2021 to 2025. AICHR appreciates the support from the Australian government through the ASEAN-Australia Counter-Trafficking Program towards the realization of the workshop.
Asian markets mostly rose Monday following a record-breaking close on Wall Street after Federal Reserve boss Jerome Powell indicated the central bank would be cautious in winding down its ultra-loose monetary policy and was in no hurry to lift interest rates. In a closely watched speech Friday, Powell said the world's top economy was well on the road to recovery from last year's pandemic-induced collapse, with millions of jobs recovered and growth at its strongest in decades. The Fed's bond buying program and colossal government spending worth trillions of dollars provided crucial support and helped drive an equity market rally for more than a year. But traders have for months been debating when the crutch will be removed in order to prevent inflation from spiraling out of control and the economy overheating. And Powell, in a speech to the Jackson Hole Symposium of Central Bankers, soothed concerns about the bank's approach, saying, I quote, it could be appropriate to start reducing the pace of asset purchases this year, end of quote. But he added that would not be a signal for an increase in borrowing costs to follow soon after. Instead, taking into account the impact of the Delta variant on the recovery. Ellie Lee at Bank of Singapore said, I quote, depending on the economic data for August, the Fed could announce a taper as early as its next meeting in September. But our base case scenario is that the Fed will prime the markets again on tapering in September and announce in November that it will begin reducing its asset purchases in December, end of quote. All three main indexes on Wall Street rallied, with the SP 500 and NASDAQ chalking up new records. And the positive mood filtered through to Asia, where Hong Kong, Tokyo, Shanghai, Sydney, Seoul, Singapore, Wellington, Taipei, and Jakarta were all in positive territory.
Back here in the country, the Department of Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi went to Mindoro and met with energy stakeholders to resolve the power crisis in the area. Mindoro Island has been experiencing rotational brownouts due to power shortage. Take a look.
Now, the people cannot wait for the process, the bureaucratic process, before we address their needs. No? So ngayon gagawin natin ganito. MPC to provide the 25 and they have to find ways to provide this 25 megawatts temporary measure. Okay? That is not a permanent solution. I'm just doing this so that the people will have a dependable, reliable power supply. Now, Ormeco immediately to proceed in building up your capacity.
Secretary Cusi met with the officials of the NPC, National Electrification Administration or NEA, and National Transmission Corporation or Transco to address the power supply in the franchise areas of the Oriental Mindoro Electric Cooperative or ORMECO, Occidental Mindoro Electric Cooperative or OMECO, and Lubang Electric Cooperative or LUBECO. The energy chief has directed energy stakeholders to deliver the needed power supply by the end of September. Cusi said the NPC would help provide power supply to the province, while ORMECO is conducting its own process of contracting with the help of NEA.
The ASEAN Portal for Public Health Emergencies was launched as a knowledge and information platform for ASEAN member states on public health emergency issues. Let's watch this.
December 2019, a novel coronavirus was identified in Wuhan, Hubei Province, China. Cluster of cases of pneumonia was reported by Wuhan Municipal Health Commission in China to the World Health Organization. Since then, the ASEAN health sector together with ASEAN dialogue and development partners launched regional preparedness and response actions through the mobilization of existing regional health cooperation mechanisms. Among others, mobilization of the ASEAN Emergency Operations Center Network for Public Health Emergencies, facilitated timely and accurate exchanges of information and technical inputs through circulation of daily situational updates, information and video conferences. The ASEAN Bio-Diaspora Virtual Center produced regular COVID-19 situational report in the ASEAN region to provide timely situational updates for COVID-19 cases and vaccines rollout in the region. As of today, there are 212 reports were produced and disseminated to all ASEAN member states. Data and information management become one of the most critical components in addressing and managing the public health emergencies. Therefore, the ASEAN health sector coming up with the initiative to build an online platform that provide an ease access of information that will enable users to not only accessing information, historical data and news, but also having real-time interactions between users. At this time, critical information such as latest news flash, statements, comprehensive information on ASEAN response to COVID-19, as well as links to ASEAN member states' respective dedicated page on COVID-19, and an overview of the latest COVID-19 situation in ASEAN member states are available in the front page of this portal. Through this portal, users may also utilize the events calendar function to bookmark any relevant ASEAN health sector's events by exporting the selected event into the Google or Outlook calendar application. Real-time users interaction is also available through a discussion forum function. This online forum will enable government officials, experts, and partners of ASEAN to interact and post any latest information, news, specific discussion on certain public health issues and threats in the region. Biosurveillance data and recent information on the ongoing public health emergencies such as COVID-19, registered users of the portal will have the access to the latest information produced by the ASEAN Bio-Diaspora Virtual Center. At the moment, information such as total number of cases and deaths due to COVID-19 pandemic are available in this dedicated page. In the near future, relevant public health information and data on the potential and ongoing public health threats from the ASEAN Bio-Diaspora Virtual Center will be made available in this page. The development of ASEAN Portal for Public Health Emergencies was made available with the leadership of ASEAN Health Sector and with the support from the Government of Canada and Germany. In the future, the portal will continue to serve the region by providing the latest information, being the online depository of historical data and information, while at the same time being the platform for technical exchanges and knowledge sharing that will be available to be accessed at any time by all ASEAN community and public.
Good afternoon. My name is Deidre Kelly, and I am Canada's ambassador to ASEAN. On behalf of the Government of Canada, it is my pleasure to be here with you today to launch ASEAN's portal for public health emergencies. Canada has been a dialogue partner of ASEAN's for 44 years now, and Canada, through the Weapons Threat Reduction Program, has been a trusted partner in the areas of biosafety and biosecurity for over a decade now, developing important capacity to detect and respond to public health emergencies, including the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The establishment of this portal is another step in deepening the capacity in the region by ensuring the timely information sharing so that governments can coordinate and respond to current and future public health emergencies. On behalf of the Government of Canada, congratulations on this important milestone, and we're happy to be a trusted partner along the way. Thank you.
Dear Minister Bunadi, dear Secretary General Lim, dear Ambassadors, Excellencies, dear viewers. It is a pleasure for me to be here today to speak to you on the occasion of the launching of the new ASEAN Portal of Public Health Emergencies. This is an outflow of the COVID pandemic, of course. We know how important it is to have reliable data sources in analyzing and combating pandemics, and that is why it was very clear for Germany to support this endeavor. Germany is a long-standing partner of ASEAN as a development partner. We have contributed significantly to the ASEAN response. We have alone 5 million euros contributed to the ASEAN response, COVID-19 response fund. And in the framework of the Team Europe approach, we have contributed 800 million euro in the ASEAN region. We will continue through GIZ to support these very important initiatives in the public health sector, which has become so critical after the pandemic. Thank you very much, and I wish your deliberations much success.
Please stay with us for more news here in ASEAN in Focus. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Mapupuno ng saya, impormasyon at inspirasyon ang hapon mo sa Afternoon Power. Handog sa inyo ng Net25. Sasabay sa inyong tanghalian ang inyong Happy Time Barkada at 12 noon. Alamin ang mga pangyayari sa ASEAN nations, ASEAN in Focus at 2 p.m. Ang inyong paboritong awit komentaryo kasama si Leo Obligar sa Piskante ng Bayan. At mga balita sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa, hatid sa atin sa Aguila Probinsya. Siksik ang hapon mo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, ang inyong Afternoon Power sa Net25.
Hindi ka na mauuli sa latest at what's trending. Kada umaga.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business.
Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration
to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights. Sharpen your instincts for smart decision-making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation,
social entrepreneurship,
and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Welcome back. Gerald Mangliwan put up a personal best performance yesterday or Sunday night as he broke the 4-minute barrier in the Tokyo Paralympics 1500-meter wheelchair race at the Tokyo Olympic Stadium. Despite failing to make the podium in his second medal race of the Olympic season, Mangliwan still had something to be proud of after finishing at 3 minutes and 58.24 seconds, way better than his previous career fast of 4 minutes and 9.95 seconds. He finished 6th out of 7 racers. Even those who finished ahead of Mangliwan set their fastest times. For 2021, gold medal winner Tomoki Sato of Japan broke the Paralympic record after clocking in at 3 minutes 29.13 seconds, dethroning 2016 champ Raymond Martin of the US by just 0.59 seconds.
It was a tough day for the Philippine para-swimmers as both Ernie Gawilan and Gary Behino failed to enter the finals of their respective Tokyo Paralympic events for Monday at the Tokyo Aquatic Center. Gawilan finished 10th overall in the men's 100-meter backstroke S7 event, while Behino came in 14th overall in the men's 50-meter butterfly S6 event, following the conclusion of the preliminary rounds. Gawilan finished last in Heat 2 of the 100-meter backstroke prelims, clocking in at 1 minute and 21.6 seconds. He was 6 seconds off the top 8 with Argentina's Inaki Basilov, punching the last ticket to the final later Monday with a time of 1 minute 15.43 seconds. With his elimination, Gawilan is now done with his stint in the Tokyo Paralympics, leaving only 3 active participants: Behino, wheelchair racer Gerald Mangliwan, and para taekwondo Jean-Alain Ganapin left in the hunt for a medal. Behino finished 7th in Heat 1 of the 50-meter fly at the time of 36.14 seconds, but following the conclusion of Heat 2, he was way out of the top 8 cutoff.
In other news, the first Philippine university built Maya 3 and Maya 4 cube satellites, or CubeSats, were finally launched to the International Space Station, or ISS, a few minutes after their scheduled 3:14 p.m. launch PST on August 29 aboard the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket's Dragon C208 as part of SpaceX Commercial Resupply Service Mission 23, or SPX-23. The scheduled launching on August 28 was moved because of bad weather. The launching was beamed live by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration on its website, or NASA. Now, the docking of the SpaceX CRS-23 cargo Dragon craft to the ISS was scheduled August 30 at 11 a.m. Both CubeSats were developed under the Stamina 4 Space, or Space Technology and Applications Mastery, Innovation and Advancement Program through the support of the DOST, UP Diliman, PhilSA, and Kyushu Institute of Technology of Japan. According to the Philippine News Service, the CubeSats are mostly identical with an estimated mass of 1.15 kilograms and measures 10 centimeters x 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 11.35 centimeters. Now, their missions included demonstration of ground data acquisition, image and video capture, detection and protection from single event latch up due to space radiation, GPS chip demonstration, among others. The country previously launched Maya 1 on June 29, 2018 and Maya 2 on February 21, 2021. Diwata 1 and 2, both microsatellites, were launched on March 23, 2016 and October 29, 2018, respectively. DOST previously said the projects will intensify efforts to harness the power of satellite technology for other purposes like those for agriculture, forest cover and natural resources inventory, weather forecasting and disaster damage assessment and monitoring, among others.
Major task, and that is commanding separation of Dragon in a couple of minutes
Thai Pochakon Watercom believes greening rooftops is one way to combat rising temperatures. Let's watch this.
Green roof has protect the use of the energy in the building because you reduce heat to come into the buildings, but you also reflect heat outside your the environment. So it's actually benefit both way. And also when you're saving the energy, you don't open air condition, which also of course put all the heat outside, which is like make it even worse. So having green roof reduce the energy cost and also cool down the temperature for the surrounding. And I think that should be a norm. I think humans have to adapt rather than think about over-consuming to fix the problem. You can fix in your own problem, but you actually create a bigger global problem. So I just feel that it's time for us to really change our lifestyle.
ASEAN supports cities to address the urban challenges and assist post-pandemic recovery through the ASEAN Smart Cities Network and the ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy. Watch this video to find out more. Take a look. Thank you, Gila, for keeping me company today, and stay safe there over there in Bangkok.
Thank you so much, Alma. And that is the latest news in the dynamic ASEAN region here in Southeast Asian nation. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Gila Pablo, your EBC Thailand correspondent, and we live in interesting times.
We'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.
Posibleng palawigin ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang Visiting Forces Agreement.